Welcome to episode 123 of the Necronama.com. Silent Hill, Day 1. I am James Sabata, horror author, screenwriter, co-host of the podcast you're listening to right now. And whenever my daughter is asleep and yells out random city names, that's where we go on vacation.
And I'm Don Guillory, author, historian, educator, co-host of this podcast, and country roads take me home to the... No.
We've lost all our listeners. Way to go.
West Virginia...
Mountain Mama. Never know about our guests.
No,
way to go.
We're not. Oh, okay. I mean, we can so rarely talk about West Virginia on this show. I mean, it's kind of a given. just imagine if we have a movie where there's somebody named Caroline.
Why do I have a bad feeling that you're gonna sing "Ring of Fire" later?
Okay, understand, Don, that I'm gonna get in some shit on that West Virginia bullshit in a moment, but okay. Fine. Get your fucking starting off shit done.
I'm not editing any of this. This is fantastic.
I have problems with that Centralia, West Virginia bullshit, but we'll get to there. Anyways, say what you gotta say.
Stranger, would you care to introduce yourself to our audiences and tell them a bit about yourself?
I am someone none of you give a fuck about, but I'm Anton Cancre. That is like it's like the sores inside of your mouth that you get when you've been with the wrong type of hooker that didn't take their medication, because people have all kinds of versions of that. I write things. I do have a book of poetry out that is shit. My mind's going blank now, which is really sad. I wrote the fucking thing and I came up with the title "Meaningless Cycles in a Vicious Glass Prison." So I have that currently out, but I'm going to have out fairly soon a book of poetry that is based around the first Silent Hill game. We'll mention the game because holy shit, y'all are going to deal with me bitching about the differences between the game and this movie. And like, you got a straight up fanboy right here. So just mention. But
should we throw down right now and I'll be like, Silent Hill 2 is the greatest in the series?
If we want to have some arguments over that, we can, because that's one of the regular things. And I love Silent Hill 2. I will not in any way complain about that.
I love both. I just couldn't resist.
But I think that and one of the reasons. Okay, so let's back up a little bit, and then I'll jump forward to that. What you just said. I have a book coming out the plan is to have it out in November through Dragon's Roost Press. That is, this story doesn't end the way we want to all the time. It's a collection of poems that were based off of my analysis of Silent Hill. But analysis is fucking boring, let's be honest. Like, there are like 3 people that would buy a book of analysis, which, by the way, I am also working on and will be out through Dragon's Roost Press the following year. And there'll be an option where you can get the special edition where they're both put together, so you can get the poems and the analysis together. Nice. But let's be honest, there are like 3 people that'll want, maybe 3 people, 2 people that'll want that collected version. I'm sorry, my dogs are being jerks.
Guest stars. Thank
you. We have guest stars, Crowley and Charlie. Anyways, that'll be coming out, but only 2 people will want to read that. But I took my analysis and then turned them into poems that have the emotional feel of the journey. Crowley, shut the fuck up. It's a cat. It's fine. He's in the house. I really hope that stays in the recording of this, because
you got
why
it.
not?
I'll leave it.
Dude! Seriously. Okay, hold on. Crowley.
Ian Lovecraft, that's for you, buddy.
Okay, so anyway.
I think he's got bingo now.
What I was trying to say is that this story doesn't end the way you want all the time is the analysis turned into poems that have the emotional story, the emotional feel of the journey through there. So they're actually like good if you don't know the game, because the game is like a pain in the ass to be able to find a way to play unless you're willing to be illegal and use emulators. And to be honest, at this point, that's kind of your only choice. So fuck Konami on that. Anyways, I have that coming out later on in November through Dragon's Roost Press also.
Well, that's cool. We didn't know anything about that going into this, so that's very neat. I like that. You know, you say that nobody cares about analysis, and that's why we did not create a podcast based on analyzing things. That's for sure.
And amusingly enough, in addition to the other things I've done, I have a podcast called The Spec Griot Garage, which you can find on like Google Play and on iTunes and all those usual places that you get those types of things. And you can go to there and hear me and other people initially just gush about poetry that we like. Because nobody fucking talks about poetry, and fuck y'all. Poetry is awesome. So we talk about other poems that we like. I get together with some cool ass people and we'll talk about some poem that we think is really awesome. And like the second half of it is usually us analyzing it. So again, like the first half, most people will like. The second half, only like 3 of you will like.
Whatever works, man. If they download for the first half, you still have the downloads. It's fine.
Exactly. I don't get paid based off of downloads, but whatever.
Really? That's how I became a millionaire. Just kidding.
Shooting yourself off into space pretty soon.
That's right.
Giant dickmobile.
This episode's getting weirder. So, really fast, let's go back to the games, because the games are why I never watched this movie until now. Because Silent Hill 1 and 2... I got kind of out of games for a long time, so I didn't go much further than that. But 1 and 2 are 2 of my favorite games of all time. And like legitimately, I would like force people, like if you didn't play games, I'd be like, you have to watch me play Silent Hill because you need to experience this. Mm. And that's how much I loved it. I would literally hold people captive and make them watch me play this game. So you said that you like the games as well. Don, what about you? Did you ever play them? Or
I played it, and this is when I'm going to be the odd man out here. I played the first one. I think I stopped after Resident Evil 1, and I'm sorry, Silent Hill, the first one.
I'm playing the right games. You hear that?
Because I played
I will stab you.
Resident Evil, and when Silent Hill came out, I was expecting a different type of game, and this is back when you would go to Blockbuster and rent something, rent the games you're going to play if you didn't want to buy them. So that one was a hard one to get because so many people were trying to play it. But yeah, I did, and at least from what I remember from playing the game, because that was so long ago, the general look of the movie and even the premise of it worked as far as having the carryover, where Resident Evil, they just completely, sorry for anybody who likes the Resident Evil movies, they missed a great opportunity to make it more accurate to the video game, as opposed to whatever the hell they turned it into. I after the second movie, I could not watch anymore.
And then they didn't even make a movie of Parasite Eve, so I'm out there too. Damn it.
No shit. Where is our Parasite? Well, no.
Good
Parasite
God, I
Eve
forgot
was based
about
off
that.
of a Japanese movie.
Really? What?
Yeah.
Holy
now,
shit.
Granted, I've never been able to see that movie, but like it was based off of a Japanese movie, and I don't know the name of it because my brain is not working right now.
Well, I'll be honest with that.
Yeah, no shit. Like, because I would totally, I will agree with you. Like right now, with the technology we have, you could do such a fucking bomb-ass Parasite Eve movie.
Yeah, you could.
Holy shit. New York just getting terrorized by mitochondria? Yeah! Let's do that now.
I love it. Sorry,
Somebody
listeners.
that knows people that can make movies. Do that. You have my money.
I would love that. But yeah,
I'm just so upset because I forgot all about that game, and I played that one as well. But what are we talking about? Like 23 years since it came out?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
Probably.
old.
Were you ever able to complete like the second version of it?
No.
Not Parasite Eve 2, but like when you go through the game,
Yeah,
and
when
then
you
like
beat
you
it,
have
there
the
was a
second
harder
version of the game that you have that fucking tower that you have to go through.
Yeah, no, I didn't. No.
Okay,
See.
yeah, I made it like halfway up that, and then there's some cockroach thing that keeps spawning other cockroaches, and it kept killing me, and I was like, fuck you. But I love that you could name your armor and you could name your gun.
Right.
And I was an incredibly mature person that used a very rude name for my gun. And I was very proud of my incredibly rude name for my gun because there was one point where somebody references it and just says, "Are you sure you want to take your..." And then just stops there, and it was great. Marvelous thing. So an ad for also, in addition to your versions of going ahead and using an emulator to play Silent Hill, because I'm pretty certain there aren't any other versions available. Like, you can't find Parasite Eve through Steam. Find an emulator, like a PS1 emulator. I can bet you can find a version of Parasite Eve. Play that shit. It's like Resident Evil and a like not quite turn-based, but not quite action RPG. Like, it had that whole like dome thing.
Yes.
That was really weird from there. But oh my God, it was great.
Welcome to our new podcast, Games I Played When I Was Young. No. So let's bring it back to the movie, but I think this really flows in with everything we're talking about, because I want to give you my rundown of watching this for the first time. I didn't want to see it. I've put it off forever because, like I said, 1 and 2 are like some of my favorite games ever. So I was terrified because I saw the Final Fantasy movie. So I did not want to see this. And when I was watching it,
the spirits within.
Yes. I was literally texting Don while I was watching it, and I was like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. They got the tone down. They got the shots down. The fog looks great. Like, these little monsters look awesome. And the entire time I had a fucking blast. The movie ended, and I went, what the fuck did I just watch? That bitch went to this town because her kid says shit when she's sleeping, and then her kid's burning, and she's like, it's gonna be okay, baby, because they can't write dialogue. It was literally like the movie ended and the sirens hit and my mind cleared and I went, what did I just watch?
I get that shit. This is one of the things that I have down, and I have this in my notes because, again, just so that you know, people at home, I am a professional in no doubt whatsoever. Fully professional. I have notes here. I wrote down that Christoph Gans, while my dog is whining, Christoph Gans is an Italian director that just happens to be French. Because this movie is so fucking Italian. Like, it out Italians Argento. In that whole sense of like, shit looks real pretty. What the fuck are people saying and what's actually happening? I don't know. Right? So yeah, I agree with you completely.
That's amazing. But very, very right on point. Yeah. So why did you pick the film? Was it about the book coming out, or like, was there something about this film? I mean, obviously, if you're going to write books about it, let me just rephrase my question since I'm stupid. What is it about Silent Hill that made this the thing you're writing about, you're on here talking about? Not to mention that you tried to do Cemetery Man and it's not streaming anywhere, so I wouldn't let you. But outside of that, what is it about Silent Hill, man?
Honestly, like, the first game, and this is one of the things that kind of we talked about a little bit. You mentioned the first and second game were really good, and the second game gets a lot of credit for being for all the things it does with subtext, with all the things it does with giving you story that is not directly stated and has a lot of like layers to it. And I will acknowledge they do some shit masterfully with that. The fact that they worked in that the different endings you get aren't just like, do this thing, but they have a lot of subtle things in there with how you play that it would reflect a different person going through those events. Mm-hmm. I really respect what they did with Silent Hill, but I honestly believe they did it better with the first Silent Hill game, but the problem was they did it so well, they did it so subtly that people just tend to assume that it's just it's a weird game that has some monsters and a cult involved and like some girl that got burned. And the subtext is largely lost because they were so good at being subtle about it, where the second game was so outright weird that people eventually okay, I get it. This has to be a dream state thing. So I got obsessed with that, with like conveying that aspect of it. And then the movie comes along, and you saw the movie later, sounds like.
I just saw it the first time doing this episode.
I saw the movie. I saw Silent Hill the day it came out.
Nice.
If I hadn't been working that day, I would have been there. Matinee showing, first fucking thing, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, would have been right there. Okay, I was down with that shit because so many interviews talked about how well, how much research Gans had done into this. How much he was worrying about making sure that he got the right tone and the right ideas with it. And that he was a huge fan of the game and all those things. So I was there first day. Right away, I drug my wife along, that poor sainted lady. She had to deal with sitting through this thing. And if you know the game, then you can fill in some blanks.
Right.
If you don't know the game, then there's just a lot of weirdo shit on there. You have Gans as an Italian director that gives you those images that are beautiful with no sense at all that connects them to each other. And I tried so hard for years to defend it and say it was amazing. I had the DVD where their digitized blacks were blue on my TV because their first high definition DVD version of it couldn't figure out how to fucking do a black on it. And it was glowing blue on my TV in a movie that is mostly black. That was a problem. Now, if you can watch it on Amazon Prime, it looks fine. It's a decent version of it. They got that shit figured out.
Yeah, it looked great.
But my version of it that I had, my special edition DVD that I spent an extra $5 on the day one released $20 DVDs. So I spent my $25 on this, and I had glowing fucking blue on my TV screen most of the goddamn time. Still very angry about that. But yeah, your question was why? Because the first Silent Hill game does such amazing things, and this movie is my most loved and hated movie at the same time. And I don't know how that can occur simultaneously.
I love that.
So I can definitely understand the juxtaposition of it being loved and hated at the same time, because there's that attachment to it. One, because of the video game connection, and then also they're doing a very good job as far as making the transition or the adaptation from video game to movie, which is so hard. Or I shouldn't even say it's hard. It hasn't been done well with a bunch of other movies, whether that's, everyone's favorite one to crap on, which would be Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers is an just unexpected bit of genius. People just haven't come to recognize that. Give us 20 years.
I'm just saying, as far as what we would have expected going from the game to the movie. Now, if it had been when the movie came out, it was the same thing with Silent Hill. I saw it, if not the first day, the first week it was out. And just within the first 15 to 20 minutes, right, it felt like I was watching somebody who was able to turn a video game into a live action film, as opposed to someone got an idea from the video game to make a live action movie, which is there have been a good number of really bad or poorly done ones. Even what was that movie with The Rock, Rampage? When they converted converted that one or transitioned it into a film, it lost the video game, I guess, feeling that this one definitely has. It was still a good like action movie, still a good, creature feature movie, but it wasn't as kind of, it did make you think about the love that you would have had for the video game, whereas this one, it does have that connection to it. I unfortunately saw that movie as a first date with someone who has been scrubbed for my memory, and I would like a lobotomy to ensure. But if I do that, then I'm going to lose that feeling I got from first watching this movie.
Watch it again for the first time.
Yes, that's what I'll do.
So one of the things I do want to say right from the get-go is that there's a major decision that Gans made in the movie that really pisses me off. And if we're talking about social context with the movie, this is where I start to get serious, by the way. Gans made a very big, very impactful choice in the movie where the game, if you haven't played it, when you're playing the game, you're playing the daughter's father. Now, also, there's a whole thing where, like, the daughter in the game is Cheryl, and for some reason they changed her to Rose or Sharon. Sorry, Sharon in this. Why there's no reason for changing from Cheryl to Sharon other than just to be like, you know what? Just a little bit of lick my ass, people that are fans of the game. I can't think of any good reason to change from Cheryl to Sharon. But more importantly, there's the fundamental change where when you're playing the game, you start off as the girl's father. You're Harry, okay? Which was also the name was changed in the movie. I don't know why. But Sean Bean's character in the movie. And the whole reason, I'm going to quote this because this is a quote from Christoph Gans that when he was talking to About Magazine, again, I'm a professional. I take notes. Yeah. But I got this on here because he also kind of says it in like the special features of the movie, but it's worth just having the definite words they had on here. With the About Magazine interview, he was a little bit more detailed. That he says, if you studied the game, you find that the hero, even though he's a man, acts in a way usually associated to women. They have an affection to their children. They are sensitive and they cry. Remove the masculine appearance and you have a feminine sensitivity. The movie turns around to what is a mother to her daughter. Okay, fuck you, Christoph. I don't have kids because I don't like kids. But I would imagine, as a man, if I had a kid, and I have friends of mine who are men who have kids, and they would go to the fucking wall for their kids. They would do any goddamn thing they need to do because they're their kids and they love those motherfuckers. Okay? That idea that the only type of person that would have affection for their children is women, and the idea that the only people that are sensitive and cry are women, oh goddamn, fuck you, motherfucker. I have so many problems with him because the whole reason he changed the point of view was he did not believe that people could understand why a guy would be willing to go through all this shit for their daughter. Fuck you, Christoph. Fuck you.
Which also makes no sense because he still goes and stalks them down. So, like,
yeah,
isn't he still doing it?
The notes that I have in there, because that's one of the things that occurred that was in post. He did his initial vision of the movie was just like Sean Bean showed up at the beginning, he was at the end, and that's it. But the studio decided that there need to be more men in this, which is also kind of stupid. Admittedly, I will give Christoph credit for the fact that he wanted to have a movie that was driven by women, that was about women and them dealing with their relations with each other.
Right.
I'll give him credit for that. And I'll give him credit for being annoyed at the studio for saying, no, you need to have more men in this. But then when the studio complained about that, what he ended up doing was having Sean Bean busting his ass trying to find out what had happened to his daughter, what had happened to his wife. Him being very concerned, very affectionate, and very sensitive towards the needs of his family to try to help find them. So he just completely destroyed his own statement that he said.
That's weird. I thought it was a really bold move to have a movie where Sean Bean lives.
Oh, you beat me to it, you bet. Well, it's because he wears a mask in the movie. You think about it. You know, he's wearing the mask when they're touring the town, when he and Gucci are touring the town, and he pulls his mask off for a second, and Gucci says, "No, you need to put your mask back on, sir. It's dangerous."
So you're saying that wearing masks saves lives. Cool.
It definitely does.
It's almost like when there are things in the air that could negatively affect your lungs or your ability to breathe and live. Might be a good idea to protect those lungs and other things that you need to live.
Strange.
I know. That's a fucking weird coincidence.
So I want to throw in that another problem I have with the beginning of this, coming from the game, is that while we're still left with some ambiguity about Sybil, I feel like Sybil's character is a billion times stronger when she's just part of Silent Hill and you don't know where she's at.
Right.
Yeah, the Sybil
meeting her outside of town didn't work for me.
It's like, and granted, I kind of give Christoph a little bit of credit for this, but Sybil is just an asshole cop. That's like, no, I'm a cop and I'm gonna arrest people. Why? Because, like, okay, I rolled up to your car and, like, your daughter said no. And so clearly she must not be your daughter. And so I'm going to pull you over and, like, start some shit over that. And then, even though we're in a place where there are these weird-ass monsters attacking us, I'm going to handcuff you because I think there may have possibly, somewhere in my imagination, been a legal issue there.
And I'm going to wear leather pants while I do it.
Look, but I'm tired of you guys shitting on Sexy Cop.
Oh, man.
When I saw the movie the first time, and probably the fifth and sixth and seventh time, and whatever time this was that I saw this, I still refer to her as Sexy Sybil, or Sybil the Sexy Cop, because there's no excuse for that much leather. Even with the motorcycle cop, there's no excuse for that much leather for it to also to be that tight.
Yeah, fitted leather, like, she made a decision. There was the police issue uniform, and she was like, nah.
Yes.
Fuck y'all. Okay, Brahms, I don't care what you got to say about this. I'm going to get myself some dick over this. Or, like, we don't really know where she... Well, no. In the game, we know where she stands. I'll say that. Because she ends up with Harry if you do the right ending, but that's a whole different thing. So, yeah. I'll just say, like, she was like, yeah, I want some tight leather so I can get some dick. Which makes me think, because the game, now that I'm thinking about it, the game was a group of Japanese people trying to emulate what they thought American horror was like. And so now I'm thinking, like, that in Japan, they think, like, all American cops have, like, tight-ass outfits showing off whatever features they have. Which is totally a Chips thing, so maybe they just watch Chips too much.
Yeah, blame Eric Estrada. That's what we're saying here today.
Just as much as Sybil was showing off her tits, Eric Estrada was showing off her dick in that outfit. So, yeah.
I was going to say, you guys are talking about her pants, and I feel like she went and got a shirt that was like 3 sizes too small, very intentionally. So
I'm pretty certain her shirt was leather, too.
She's out there with handcuffs, but I'm not convinced she's a cop. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I do, honestly, even though the guy from Sons of Anarchy, the super freak from Sons of Anarchy, is the one saying, like, no, she's a cop and she's, like, the best cop ever. Yeah, I kind of agree with you that I don't think she was actually a cop. I think that she just was somebody he knew on the side, and she just kind of roamed around getting people together for, you know, whatever she's into.
Well, and she was basically Dwight Schrute.
Yes. She was Dwight, but Dwight a bit more freaky.
Yeah.
We have a whole different movie going on now. It'd be a great movie. Somebody needs to make like
Not
Sybil
so
on the
Silent
Prowl.
Hill. Sybil on the Prowl. That's good.
But
Jesus.
yeah.
Well, even her backstory when Gucci gets into the whole thing of, oh, there was a kid that was taken a few years ago and they were gone for 3 days and Sybil brought him out. I mean, you get an indication that maybe she is one of those people that's I guess overly sensitive with the situation that she sees Sharon in. She immediately goes back to whatever that is from the previous time. She has some intuition that says, "Hey, something's not right here. Let me check it out." Even though she's wrong, which I even wrote down. I was like, you know what? If you mind your fucking business, you stay out of trouble.
Yeah,
because she wouldn't have ended up in Silent Hill.
She was there getting gas. Mm-hmm. Mind your own fucking business. Get your gas, move the fuck on.
Yeah, it's a very weird entryway. I would rather she was just in the town, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, in the game, again, being a dork, I know, even though the game doesn't state it, because I've read all the fucking interviews with everybody that made it, that their whole idea was that she worked in Brahms, but there was a call from Brahms about the drug dealing going on in Silent Hill, and she was just getting called over for that. Had nothing to do with anything else. That's why in the intro sequence to the game, she just passes the car and she's shooting on by, flashing sirens, but she goes on by and goes in, and then later on they see her bike wrecked on the side of the road. So they don't know what happened to her, but she's just as weirded out by this shit as everybody else is, and she's not as much of a dick in the game as she is in the movie.
Yeah. When I watch this movie, all I can think of is Andrea from The Walking Dead, who already, nothing against Laurie Holden, but her character annoyed the shit out of me. So I was just instantly annoyed to see her again, because that's all I could think. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's the kind of high quality analysis you're getting from me today.
But she is annoying in the movie. They made her annoying, and that's annoying. That angers me because she was kind of this is a whole other. In the game, she was a surrogate mother figure that was kind of set in as a replacement mother that dealt with the whole issue of how does somebody that's dealt with trauma deal with being adopted and then having to deal with an adopted mother when they'd been abused by their original mother and all that kind of shit. That was really well done in the game.
Yeah.
And then in the movie, she's she's a cop and she has tight leather and she's an asshole and she gets burned to death.
Perfect. Hired.
That's it. We'll just have it done. Because also, we can't have men showing that they care about their children or they care about the one remaining person, because anybody that's played the game knows Harry's wife died sometime shortly before the game started. So this is a dude that the only person he has in his family, the only person he has a connection to is his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
No guy that has only that connection left to their daughter is willing to go through all the shit that this guy goes through, according to Kristoff. So dealing with all that, dealing with a girl that had dealt with the trauma of her mother, her original mother being super abusive, her adopted mother dying, and then there's this replacement mother coming in, and you just assume that there's a treatment of this person's going to be as bad as my original mother. All of that nuance in the game, gone. She's just an asshole cop that eventually gets burned alive.
Well, and at some point she starts trusting Rose and working with her, but I don't feel like that was even fleshed out enough. It was just like a coin flip all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah. She was finally okay, there's a giant knife coming through the walls. I guess I'll unhook you. How far do you... Well, actually, we know how far you have to fucking go. If you're a cop and you have somebody in handcuffs, the point where you're finally allowed to let them go from the handcuffs is when there is a person with a giant pyramid thing on top of their head that's jacked as a motherfucker. Like, dude has snakes on his arms, okay? They aren't veins. They are fucking pythons roaming in and among his pythons that exist as his arms. And he's shoving a knife that is twice as long as he is through a wall. At that point, it's okay to unhandcuff the person.
I don't know. I think she still has a dialogue with herself at that point, so it might not be okay still.
Yeah, there's still some discussion. I want to back up for a second, though, because also, okay, I complained about the decision to have switch the POV character over to a woman. And I have no problem with Idol. I really like that he came at this with the idea of having a woman-centric movie. Mm-hmm. Granted, he came at it from the point of view of a sexist-ass dude, but still, he tried. I'll give him credit for that. But this POV switch annoyed me. Also, the fucking Centralia thing. Okay? I don't remember if it was Don or who mentioned it earlier, but somebody mentioned this going on in West Virginia. The movie goes on in West Virginia, but the game is in fucking Oregon. Okay? Fucking Oregon. That shit is as far away from Pennsylvania as you can get. It had the fog wasn't due to a coal mine thing. It was all just basically like the haziness of dealing within this person's brain. But the fact that Christoph Gans said, no, we have to make this realistic. In this one point, not a goddamn thing else makes any fucking sense. But in this one point, we will say we have to be realistic. And the only way there can be fog and snow is if it is in this one weird-ass town in West Virginia where the coal mine got set on fire because somebody set some trash on fire that somehow set the coal mine on fire. Like, what the fuck was going on in that town? I don't know. But either way, they did that, and then like all but like 15 people had to evacuate the town. And if you're searching Centralia, there are people that still live in Centralia. There are only like 15 of them, but they do it because they are some hardcore motherfuckers, and they have my respect because they're breathing coal fumes constantly. But why switch to that town? There was no... That's what makes it make sense? Come the fuck on. You Italian-French motherfucker.
And it's not like you can't film in Oregon. I mean, there's no law against that. No.
Exactly. You could have that in Oregon. You could film in somewhere else and say it's Oregon. I'm also seeing in my notes, again, reminding you that I'm professional and I have notes, that it starts off with that damn Ozzy Osbourne opening. Because any of y'all that remember the Osbournes, going back, God, that's decades now.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm old. But for those of y'all that are younger, there used to be one of them there reality TV shows that were centered around the family of this guy named Ozzy Osbourne that used to be the singer of a band called Black Sabbath. And Ozzy Osbourne used to do a lot of the drugs. And, well, his brain ain't working all that well nowadays because he did a lot of them there, the drugs. So there was the catchphrase from this show, the Osbournes, which was him and his family, his wife Sharon, there was also his manager, no problem there going on, and their children that were probably the most fucked up children that ever existed, and I feel so bad for those kids. But anyways, the call line from that show was Sharon, because Ozzy Osbourne's wife was, and
dear God,
Ozzy Osbourne was very mentally addled because he did every drug that existed, lots. He snorted ants, famously, because somebody dared him to. So,
Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue.
Okay, that was who dared him to? Of course, yep. That was Nikki Sixx. The guy that injected like formaldehyde into his dick was like, you know what? You think you did all the drugs? Fucking do a line of ants, motherfucker. Anyways, in the show, like Ozzy Osbourne, blown out of his brain, not existing regularly, would regularly yell for his wife. And it sounded exactly the same as this movie starting off with the parents waking up and yelling, Sharon!
That's pretty great. So, this beginning scene, though,
the family or change the name of the family from Mason to De Silva.
Yeah, that's weird.
So many choices. I don't understand.
But I mean, that goes right into the plot, right there. I don't understand choices made. Like, if my daughter is sleepwalking and she goes to cliffs and waterfalls and basically looks like she's going to fall 80 stories to her death, why the fuck am I not locking my house better? And why I have so many problems with this parenting at the beginning. And then the daughter keeps saying Silent Hill while she's asleep. So the best course of action is obviously to take you there. So I'm just saying none of the plot really makes sense. So.
Yeah, this clearly traumatized girl that is a not even teenage girl. I think she's supposed to be 8 in the game, 8 or 10. So
yeah, she's young, yeah.
Well preteen girl. Very clearly traumatized. Very clearly dealing with some resurfacing issues from her past. And instead of talking to a psychiatrist, or as the movie puts it, the movie makes it pretty clear that they went to psychiatrists, and the psychiatrists were like, no, don't do that shit. And mom was like, fuck you, I know you're a professional, but whatever. I don't care. We're going to go to this place as the source of my daughter's trauma. Everything will be fine. There's so many problems with that.
That sounds like a choice a lot of parents are making right now by not listening to experts.
That's true. It's oddly where, like, maybe people that spent their life studying something, you should maybe listen to them. And yes, sometimes some of them have been assholes. And sometimes some of them have manipulated your trust of them. But if you listen to the large majority of them, most of the people that have studied something for 10 or more years of their life and spent the money to study it for 10 or more years of their life before they could make a fucking dime doing it, probably know a little bit of what they're talking about compared to your 5 minutes of YouTube research.
Very true. Very true.
I'm already being a dick. Sorry.
We're all about being dicks on this show. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Don, what do you got in your notes? I know you're burning up over there.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. We've got another thing that comes up in this movie itself that we've talked about with other horror films and horror related films. It is this whole thing of cults and. Well, I mean, I'm just go straight to the cults themselves. And even when it came to questioning Sharon and her parentage, or at least who her father is, there's this quick decision to deem her to be an outcast, and then, call her a witch, and that she has to be sacrificed because of that. And just looking at that, you just think about how, at least in U.S. history, how women have been scapegoated so many times throughout history. And whether we're talking about the 17th century with the Salem witch trials, or we're just talking about the way in which women aren't even given a voice and through a good bit of American history. And it's even debatable as whether or not women are given a voice right now. But just this whole idea that somebody is different, or there's somebody that's a little bit different according to our moral standards, and they have to be punished because they don't live up to what we deem a person or an innocent child should be, how they should live their lives, or how they should exist within our society.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's one of the things that there are some things this movie does really well. First off, I will acknowledge that the visuals are done amazing. So I want to give credit to that. Mm-hmm. Before getting back into the stuff that Don's saying, and I want to make sure that I touch on there too. But that, granted, the beginning of the movie is shit. But once they make that switch into Silent Hill, once there's the crash, that section there is note for note. Like, they even hit the camera angles, and I swear I almost left some stains in my pants with that. Like, some of those bits in those alleyways were just, oh my God. And unfortunately, the whole thing with the flaming gray children that in the game are gray children, in the movie, they're really more like, I don't know, cracked lava kids. I don't know what the deal is with that.
Pretty much, yeah.
In the movie, they don't look very good. If you watch, or even you can find on YouTube, the special features for it, what they had originally looked fucking awesome for that.
Oh, really?
They
Nice.
did a really good job of the people with there of making those kids look not like they looked in the game, but making them look really creepy, and the dancers that were doing the moves were great. Then some idiot said, let's slap a bunch of CGI on top of that and make it look like absolute shit that you can't understand what's going on. I highly recommend to respect the work that people put into making it look right. Find on YouTube, if you look up like Silent Hill special features or things like that, you can find it's a making of thing. You can see what they looked like when they were just in the foam latex outfits. And it looks really good. To be honest, they probably could have left it like that and been fine. But that stuff aside, besides working on those ends, they did the visuals really well. I will totally respect how well they got across the visual tone of Silent Hill. What Don was saying about how they're dealing with these issues with women, I did really appreciate. That there were some things in there that they brought up new subjects, and they brought them in to the feel of a Silent Hill type universe and made them fit in that universe very well. And I totally respect the fuck out of that. So yeah, I mean, that first, it takes 14 minutes to get into the movie. And I will tell you, honestly, if you've never watched it before, you could skip the first 14 minutes of the movie and be okay. It's just like a couple parents sitting around, and then a kid yells Silent Hill, and eventually mom is taking the girl to Silent Hill. You don't need any of that first 14 minutes. Just skip by it. I mentioned that the gray children were creepy as fuck, respect for that. And there was there's this moment. Okay, so they stopped during the 14 minutes. I'll recommend, okay, if you're scanning through on Netflix, or not Netflix, because I don't think it's on there, but on Prime, and you see the point where you see them at a gas station, there's kind of a fun moment where there's some old dude that's talking about the coal fire fumes. Because, why not? And he's saying that the coal fire fumes are bound to kill you. So he's warning, I think at this point, maybe it's the dad that's trying to go up there. But either way, somebody's warning about, you go up there, the coal fire fumes are bound to kill you. He's lighting up a cigarette while he's saying this. And that fucking killed me. I was done. Oh, sorry. And also, I'm going to mention, because we need to mention the cameo of the Nokia brick that Mom is using in this. Because Rose and her fucking Nokia brick, those unkillable beasts. Oh, yeah. I so much love for the Nokia brick.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, movie. Well, they all survived. They're going to survive nuclear destruction and everything else. These phones will still be here long after we're all gone.
I had one that I ran over with my car. It was still okay. The only thing that killed it, the car suffered some damage. The shocks were not very well after that. But the battery eventually died. And I reached a point where I could not find, even on secondhand markets, a battery that worked. And that's the only reason I gave up my brick.
That was last week. That's amazing. It lasted so long.
I can't wait till, I'm not going to experience it, but there is going to be a point where, alien civilizations will be, sifting through the last bits of Earth that remain just before the sun explodes. and they're going to find just tons of those Nokia bricks around, and they're going to be amazed at how these little coffin-shaped objects manage to survive.
Good God.
They're the best designed things ever. Can we talk about the janitor?
We should, yeah.
Because that was one of the things, like, again, I want to try to not bitch constantly about the differences. Like, the movie brought in shit that didn't make sense. Pyramid Head was in there, and for no goddamn reason, except to rip one bitch's skin off of her. And to, like, stab through the walls and get Sybil to decide to not keep the handcuffs on. But
I really thought the sword was going to hit the handcuffs. I thought that's what was going to happen, that it was going to, like, break the little...
That would have been so great. And then Rose just, like, swang and, like, punched at Sybil. That would have been marvelous. This is the version of Silent Hill we need. Not necessarily the one we wanted, but it's one we need. But the janitor was something that fit so well with the tone that was not something from the games. Because that's one of the few things that they have in there that leaves it to subtext. Granted, later in the game, they give you some, they're fairly direct. I mean, they have the whole, like, little girls that don't have anyone to protect them are sometimes vulnerable. And then they have, like, the picture of the guy licking his lips. Like, that's gross as shit. But I will still respect that, like, for the most part, the whole thing with the janitor and whatever his name was. But that version of him that you see early on in the game, all twisted up, and him being a reflection of her trauma, that one moment does so well what the whole game did. Why the fuck couldn't they do that with the whole movie? It makes me so sad. Because clearly they knew, and it's so tense. Like, that still creeps me the fuck out. Ugh.
Just one of those missed opportunities. And it'd be interesting to see what's on the cutting room floor with this film, as far as what got left out, and what they could have possibly just left in.
And I know, at least with the special edition that I had, they had the glowing blue blacks on it. Mm-hmm. Because I'm so happy that I spent the money the day it came out to get the special edition. And my DVD version that was like first day the DVD came out and special edition of it, and I'm going to keep saying that, because their digital blacks glowed blue on my screen in a movie that's mostly black. And I'm still very angry about that. I don't know what my point was with this. I just was complaining about it because I'm still very angry at that. That was $25 I spent in like 2000s money.
Yeah, adjusted for inflation today.
Yeah, I could have bought a whole house with what I spent on the special edition of Silent Hill just to watch those blacks glow blue on my basic ass tube television.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and there was a moment where
we had the
Simply
tube
yelled,
television.
"What the fuck is going on?" And the entire audience agreed with her.
So, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, it's interesting to see when you've got Rose's character and you have Sybil's character that are seemingly the rational ones that are there, right? But once Rose goes through her little trek or whatever it is, and she finds that room and she's immediately hit with all the light, and Alyssa tells her, or at least the spirit that's there, tells her what has been going on. You know, gives a full backstory. You get to see the janitor. You see little Alyssa being harassed by her classmates, by the teacher, who, you know, eventually becomes the cult leader as Christabella. How you see all this stuff that's there, and it's remarkable that you're able to get a good backstory that far into the film to where it doesn't seem at that point where where Rose is overwhelmed at that point, because one, she's trying to find her daughter. She's trying to figure out what's wrong with her, or at least, what her trauma is. She's come all this way. Daughter disappears, and now it's not even an issue about trying to solve the trauma or trying to discover what the trauma is. Now it's, I've got to save her. I've got to stop whatever is going to happen to her. And in all honesty, she could see this as a point of like, this is inevitable because I'm outmanned, I'm outgunned. Like there's really no hope for me here. And she still keeps trotting forward because she understands that from what Alessa tells her and what the little spirit tells her, which, by the way, the girl who was playing all those different characters was outstanding. And one of my biggest problems was the writing and some of the lines that were in this film, and even how they were delivered. But that
dialogue is
scene,
so bad.
That scene where she's just talking about, well, who are you? It's like, I go by many names. It's like, oh shit, I almost got goosebumps because she was so good at playing like this little evil spirit, who's, letting you know, I'm here to remind them what the fuck happened and to let them know that they're all dead. Like they're in this fantasy world, and I need to bring them. I need to bring closure to them. I can't remember where I was going, but I was going to say that scene, as far as the way it's laid out, gives us a little bit more character development with somebody like Rose, and understanding what she sees as her mission, basically.
And I can see that, and I can give some respect to that. That's one of the things. Okay, now you mentioned the girl that played Sharon. First off, I personally, I will say, when I saw this in the movie, my main concern was that she was not, like, I disagree with you that she was, like, her performance came across as shit, but I've seen her in enough other things to know that's not her. She can be better than the crap they shoved down her throat. The direction on this was crap, but also Sharon is so infantilized in this. She's supposed to be an 8-year-old girl, and they start off with her like sitting with mom by a tree, and yeah, that meowing. What the fuck? And then she's in the car and she's sucking her thumb like a little baby. Like, no, fuck you. Okay, this girl is not a 2-year-old. Okay, give her. I get that people want their little kids to be like super little kids, but even your 8-year-olds are starting to be actual people, and respect that shit. God damn it. That angers me. So I'm going to mention a couple things with just like the difference between what I think the movie is about as compared to the game, because the game is very much about trauma. It's about somebody processing their past trauma. It's somebody dealing with, as they enter into adolescence, how they deal with these horrific things that happened to them as a very young child that they had suppressed. Yeah, that's what the game is about. And by the way, again, if you buy my book, you'll entirely get that feeling of it in the course of there. That's out in November. Dragon's Roost Press, just mentioning. But the movie is about something very different. The movie is instead so much centered on religious intolerance and manipulation of the people by those in power. So they become very different things. And that's one of the things I can respect with the movie is it let itself be its own thing. Christoph Gans and everybody else involved in it were okay with it being like expressing its own ideas. And so you have these weird things where like Dahlia, the mom, that in the game is very much a manipulative, absolute bitch. She's somebody that abused the fuck out of her daughter and then is finding this other person and is manipulating them. She's manipulated this entire town to do the things that she wants, including the police force. In the movie, she's instead turned to a mother that cares, but was manipulated by this religion, by this intolerance, to believe that her own daughter needed this help. And we see her at the end of that. We see her mom after she's realized, oh, fuck, I was supposed to help my daughter. And instead, I bought into the shit other people were selling me. I bought into what they said I needed to do for her. And she lost herself in it. And she's dealing with that guilt. She's dealing with that remorse of it and trying to find some way to make things better. Whole different Dahlia there. Sybil, we already mentioned, Sybil doesn't react in any way rationally. There's a weird thing with women in this movie that is all centered around women, where Christoph has a weird view of women. They tend to be very easily manipulated in here. Sybil doesn't act rationally. She doesn't act with the public good in mind, even though she's supposed to be a police officer. Instead, she just acts on a need to control. Right away, her first thing is, well, I think I understand what's going on here, so I'm going to handcuff you. And only changes it when she's getting stabbed at with a giant knife. Rose is scared constantly. Her only way, even though she wants the best for her daughter, her only way to deal with things is to be reactive at all times. Most of the time that she's faced with danger, she cowers. This is centering on very specific images of what women are supposed to be like, according to the people that made it. We've got Alessa, who we don't know about till the end, but we know that she agrees to let a demon take over and basically assault this town because of her fear and agony. So we have this idea that women are irrational and driven by emotion, that they act without thinking. That constantly goes on. Every woman in the movie that is largely centered around women occurs. And then we have Chris, that for some weird reason, again, weird name changes that make no sense. I don't know why they did it. In the game, he was Harry. In the movie, he's Chris. I don't know why. Somebody just said, we like Chris better. But Chris, even though he's doing a lot of that searching for his family, he's digging through, he's very methodical. He starts with the police. He tries to follow clues. He's very logical. He's digging out paperwork, all of that. As compared to the mother she's just an irrational lady that just dives on in with things on there. I feel like there's something being said there that I don't think that Christoph Gans or anybody related to the movie intended to get across. But they're certainly telling us a lot about what they think is what makes someone a woman and what makes someone a man. I don't agree with any of those, but they're there as a very prominent thing with it. And that women seem to be much more manipulated by this religious intolerance. That's kind of a problematic thing I have with this movie.
It seems as though there should have been a lot more communication between the two of them as far as what was going on. But you could potentially create a number of issues for her. I mean, what if she, I don't know, I mean, she's getting gas. Like, what if she wasn't able to pay? She didn't have any cash on her.
That was my thought. I was like, how's she supposed to get home? And this isn't a safe place.
Yeah. But then there's also that sense of, was he partially doing what he was doing because he wanted to, I don't know, just control where she was going to go and what she was going to do, or this idea that she wasn't, and I hate using this term, she wasn't obeying him, and this was his way of controlling her or making sure that she abided by what he wanted. Because there are questions, I mean, there are points where you get a sense that there's definitely love between the two of them, but then you kind of question motivations, at least on his part, as to what's going on, when they could have easily just taken like a couple of days and gone to Silent Hill, or at least gone and found out some information about Sharon and to help her out, because I think he's a little bit absent when it comes to dealing with what Sharon's needs are, right? Because as we talked about earlier, if my kid happens to be sleepwalking and they're going out to a cliff, I'm taking them to a couple of psychiatrists. It's not going to just be one and they kind of say, hey, this is what you do. I'm going to find out some more information, because that's not, again, normal's a bad word to use, but that's not typical behavior for a kid, because people sleepwalk. I mean, but they don't sleepwalk all the way to a cliff. And most parents have the doors locked. I mean, I'm sure they might not have had a deadbolt, but
like, this must happen all the time. She knew exactly where to go to find the girl. Like, I don't know. Like, I would think you would maybe set up a schedule with your husband. Like, you be awake these hours and I'll be awake these hours. You know, something.
We have motion sensors. I mean, something.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It was just about this time that Dawn and I realized our guest had disappeared and hadn't been there for several minutes. We got a hold of him and found out that his internet had crashed due to a storm, so we had to finish the episode the following day. But we finished it. And you know why? Because we are professionals.
Now, back to our show.
Silent Hill, Day 2.
The whole thing with Chris, that's another one of those weird, I don't know, it's one of those things that just, to me, seems like this is even more things pointing towards, like, does Christoph Gans have, like, has he ever been married? Does he have kids? Like, if he is married and has kids, does he treat his wife and his kids like this? Because that's what he thinks, like, guys are supposed to act like. Like, I have so many questions for him just as a person. Like, man, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, because because when this movie came out, filmed, I guess 2003, 2004, it comes out in 2005. But I'm sorry, probably 06. But there's still that question of what masculinity even looks like, which even now people are being more open about it. People are actually being more open to actually learning and unlearning the bullshit that goes along with what masculinity and what quote unquote traditional relationships are supposed to look like. Where I guess with a film like this, you would have some people would argue and say, like, yeah, of course, he's the husband. She's supposed to listen to him. That's his wife. And, he's the head of the household and whatever are the nonsensical old world 1950s wet dream type shit that they believe in. But I don't think, and I can't remember if I brought this up earlier when we were talking about this, but I don't think you could make this movie in the same way with respect to the relationships. Not as far as it wouldn't be, it'd be one of these things where people would just come down on you. I just don't think it would be, I don't think it would be believable. You'd have to have something, you'd have to have I guess a stronger connection between the two as far as the husband and wife. But then also there would, I don't know, it just seems like there would be a little bit more communication going on, or at least a little bit more focus on communication or even dysfunction.
But wait, you're saying that, but Christoph Gans or whatever the hell his name is saying that he's working on a Silent Hill sequel because he can do the sequel right. So I'm just picturing him doing the exact same thing again. Because I didn't think it was believable at the time. Right. Like that, just none of that seemed to like check with me. It was weird. That was one of the things that I thought was really cool with the game, was that it played around with those traditional roles. Mm-hmm. The girl's natural mother is the one that's setting her on fire and using her for her own ends. She's the one that like has no real emotional connection to her kid and just treats her daughter like a piece of property. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the adopted father, that a guy that just found a baby on the side of the road, according to
as the one does.
Yes. And you just pick up the baby and take him home. He's the one that like everything you see, even before like the little bit that you see in that like intro cutscene thing, plays before the game. You see him like in the car, kind of interacting with her, and there's it's very clear like she's super comfortable. He's looking, with affection over at her. Like it's like that looks like a nice like family trip. Like there's nothing weird going on there. There's nothing like aggressive or anything. Like that just to me, I got the feeling of like probably, and by all accounts, he was a solid dad. And was a good guy, taking care of his kid. His wife died. They're going off on a trip somewhere. Then they wreck. She's not there. He's willing to run around in a fog-covered town filled with pterodactyls and skinned dogs and monkey babies that leap around and try to claw your eyes out and all kinds of fun things like that. He's willing to fight a penis monster in the basement of a school, although it's like a penis/vagina monster, so it's a whole other weird thing there. And for more on penis/vagina monsters, please feel free to buy my upcoming book, because I have a whole run of poems about the penis/vagina monster. Anyways,
I think that this really pulls in though. Like when you look at the game and these things and these roles, and then you look at what we got, like you could have still cashed in on that. They could have made a big deal of how he can't get into Silent Hill because he's a guy. And that would have been really easy to write in with everything that happened. He's walking with a cop who's a guy who also can't get in, while Sybil's over here helping her. Like all of this was there. And that slight little, it had to be mom, would have at least justified that. Like, well, he couldn't have gotten into Silent Hill, I don't know, something. I'm trying to help this guy out.
At least I guess if he threw that in, maybe I could have bought it. I'm still salty over that decision, as well as just like every decision that he took to part from the game is weird and doesn't make any sense, and it makes the movie not make any sense. Like every single one of them. I don't understand you, Christoph. You're confusing me. And the game was confusing enough the first time I played through it. Like that takes a bit to try to make sense out of. You don't need to make it more confusing.
I don't know. I feel like they knew that this movie had its audience and other people probably weren't going to it. And they expected you to have some backstory going in. And that's great for the time. Like when it came out, I get that. And like I brought up Final Fantasy, what's it called? The Spirits Within.
Oh God.
Like, nobody's just going to that. Like you went because you were a Final Fantasy person, right? Like, so I feel like in that way, I can justify a lot of the movie not making sense because you bring your own connections to it already, and they don't have to spend time spelling it out to us. So in that way, I get it. But when, let's say my son queued this up, having no idea it's even a game. I mean, he would because, he loves that kind of stuff. But let's say he didn't. He would be like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. And I feel like that disconnect is a very overlooked thing when people try to make movies based on games.
And there are ones that bother going ahead and finding a way to do something else. Again, I will say, it sucks, and yet I still watch it a lot. And, there are some things about it I like about it. I love Italian movies, Italian horror movies, and it's an Italian horror movie that doesn't have the weirdo dubbing. I think maybe that's what they're missing, now that I'm thinking about it. If they had the weirdo dubbing, where, everybody was speaking completely different languages, and none of it, jives up with what's being said, then all of it would just work so much better.
Oh man, I don't know that I want to watch that, but I'll be okay with you watching it. So, since we don't have much left, I suppose we could just jump to movie recommendations before this goes to day 3 or 4. No, who do I want to go first?
The guest.
We'll let the guest go first. Yeah.
Okay.
He's
I
gonna
have
steal mine, and I'm not gonna have one, so it's gonna be all right. But go ahead.
I have a fairly long list, probably not a Dawn length list, but I mean, obvious one is Silent Hill Revelation. As I said, like it's weirder, but the plot actually makes more sense, and it's 3D, so you get to see all the like the cheap, cheesy like 3D things where they shove things into the camera for no good reason, and it's hilarious. My dog's complaining about things. Charlie, please stop. Thank you. But also like. Since I mentioned Italian horror films, because it really kind of feels like those. City of the Living Dead, I think, like has that same level of logic that this has. I'm also going to point people towards just any of the absolutely just fucking cool Silent Hill short fan films that you can find on YouTube. There are tons of them, and honestly, most of them are rad as fuck. And they make more sense. They fit better with the mythology. They're just better than this movie. So spend some time on YouTube. Look up some of those. I respect the people that are making those things. They're cool. But also things, if you like stuff that doesn't make sense. Frailty, because... I mean, come on. Things just... If you want to see something that doesn't make sense and has like just worse special effects in it, that's a pretty good one. Frailty deals with the same kind of family issues, but instead of being from a mother-daughter angle, it's from a father-son angle. And so, like, I feel a connection there. And besides, Frailty's an amazing damn movie. You should see it no matter what. The Void, if you're watching this just because you like weird-ass monsters. Bad Milo, just because if you like scary-ass monsters. See what I did there? That really, Bad Milo has nothing to do with Silent Hill. I just wanted to go for that pun. The Suspiria remake, because that really deals with that same kind of oppressive religious angle. Lost Highway. No, this one of them are just the movies that the game was like inspired by. So like Lost Highway, In the Mouth of Madness, The Mist, Jacob's Ladder, Session 9. Like all those, the people that made the game were very heavily influenced by, and you can like a lot of that same imagery and feel is in this movie too. So if you liked this, definitely watch those. They're better.
My double feature pick was Session 9, so he already mentioned it, but I knew he would, so it's okay. All right, go ahead.
I always pair this one up with Resident Evil, the first one, because they are the survival horror video games that were very popular, then turned into movies, but for some reason missed a few beats. But I'd also, with this movie, I would definitely say it makes me think of 13 Ghosts, House of Wax, as bad as that movie was. 28 Days Later, Hostel. Let's see, Cabin in the Woods, just to have some fun. The Thing, Skeleton Key, House on Haunted Hill, Devil, As Above, So Below, and last but not least, as far as keeping with horror, because of Alice Krige, who plays Christabella in this film, Sleepwalkers, or something more recent with her, Gretel and Hansel. But since we were talking about masculinity earlier, I would say that another good film or documentary for people to watch would be The Mask We Live In, which fully deconstructs the way in which different organizations, groups, institutions built up this idea, this false sense of what masculinity is supposed to be like. And they basically just show what healthy masculinity and interaction between genders is supposed to look like, to where we're not so fucking amped up and ridiculous.
That sounds awesome. I need to watch that one.
Oh, it's done very well, very well. In fact, the counterpart to that one is another documentary called Misrepresentation, that talks about the way that women, especially young girls, are conditioned, which leads to, body dysmorphia, hypersexualization, eating disorders, any number of things come up in that where they talk about the way that femininity has been, I guess, shaped or misshaped to where it has really led a lot of people to just question so many things about themselves when they shouldn't be.
Okay, I need to check those out. Could I also take a moment to modify Don's double feature? Just because if we're going to do that, you should really do a triple feature, because there's also Alone in the Dark. That is another marvelous, just amazing, certainly the best movie anybody has to see based off of a survival horror film. Anything that has Tara Reid playing a scientist. Directed by Uwe Boll. I mean, come on now.
Oh my God, I had completely forgotten about that.
As you should.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the episode, man. So let's throw it back to you, and you can tell our listeners where to find your books and when the new one's heading our way.
Okay, so Vicious Cycles in a Meaningless Glass Prison. By the way, again, I'm Anton Cancre, in case you somehow forgot. That is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, although I think Barnes & Noble only has the ebook version. Poetry comes out weird in ebooks, so I always feel strange going through that. But to be honest, also, I'm as Anton Cancre on the social medias. If you contact me directly, I can give you a personalized copy, write an extra poem in there just for you. And there's a little extra chapbook that I send over to people. So it's a much better deal if you just contact me and give me the $10 instead of giving it to Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still get it through Amazon. It's also available through Dragon Roost Press, although I'm pretty certain their website just redirects you to the Amazon page. Outside of that, and finding me on social media things, I have a Luddite blogspot website, because, why not keep with that? That's just antoncancre.blogspot.com. Yeah, I don't know. I might be sitting outside your house right now, too. And then the upcoming book that should be out, our plan is for November, will be This Story Doesn't Always End the Way You Want. The Story Doesn't End the Way You Want All the Time. I can't even remember my own damn book title. And that's going to be coming out in November. That's also through Dragon's Roost, so it'll be available through the same places, Amazon, and also available through me. And I'm sure I'll have other fun extra things to throw your way. I really like that one. I just got the confirmation and got the full thing in that the introduction for that is done by the Gaming Muse. Any of you that get on, that watch any of the analyses that are done on YouTube, if you don't know his stuff, oh my God, just so well researched and interestingly detailed. All these different things about alchemy and different cultural backgrounds and all of these things that I did not even think to look into when I was coming up with my ideas of this. And yeah, it's his work with that is amazing. I'm super glad he was willing to do the intro for it. So check out the Gaming Muse on YouTube also. There's some great, really interesting videos on there.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up for this week. So as always, I am James Sabata.
And I'm Don Guillory.
And we will see you back here at thenecronama.com.